supply remains one of the pointers to development and sustainable industrial revolution. Power generation and distribution is hovering between 5,000 to 6,000 megawatts. While there is a growing push for off-grid and renewable solutions, states now have the authority to regulate, generate, transmit, and distribute power within their jurisdiction. Following the Electricity Act 2023, thereby creating independent electricity markets and moving away from the previously centralized federal model. This shift encourages states to leverage on public-private partnerships to invest in power generation. Already, some states are taking advantage of the act. However, with the narrative changing now, some states stand out for their relatively stable power supply, offering a glimpse of hope and progress, you say. Well, tonight on Weekend File, the spotlight is on states' involvement in power supply. And our guests are Mr. Oyebade Fadipe, a power sector expert. He will be joining us here in our Abuja studio. And Mr. Eka Williams, Chairman Forum of Commissioners of Energy and Commissioner for Energy, Cross River State. He will be joining us via Zoom. Thank you for joining us. But before we delve into the issues in focus, let's begin with the news. I'm Ruth Aguwele. Election results across the 23 local government areas of Rivers State are being awaited as sorting of ballots and counting of votes peacefully held amidst low turnout. Kinsley Amajiri has a compilation of the exercise in the state.
Today's local council election in Rivers State represents a milestone to the restoration of democratic governance at the grassroots level in the state. Those who participated in the exercise believe it is a civic responsibility they owe the state in the emergence of the next set of leadership.
Come out to exercise my franchise, which I have voted. I'm equally here to defend my vote.
My thought is that it's free election. There is no problem. Everyone is coming out. You can see I've done my own rights, and it's free and fair.
We have to thank Mr. President for taking the bold steps to make sure that this election is conducted. And now that the process is very clear and goes according to the law, nobody's worried.
From the turnout and from the conduct of all who are involved, those voting and those who are conducting the elections, I believe at the end of the day we should have something that we are proud of.
This election is setting the foundation for the proper return of democracy to Rivers State.
I must commend RISEC for a job well done. The materials arrived on time. The voting was orderly. People queued up. In fact, there's massive turnout.
We're happy that our people are out here performing their civic duty. And I think this is a testament to the incredible campaign that we ran.
The people now are prepared to transmit into the proper democratic process, and you can see it everywhere you have gone to. Voting has gone on seamlessly.
The electoral umpire adopted manual technology in its accreditation, sorting, and counting process. The election is expected to produce 319 councillors and 23 council chairmen. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
All right, let's join our correspondent, Robinson Darataide, live now from Port Harcourt, to give us more insight on the local government elections that carried out today. Robinson, if you can hear me, please go ahead and tell us the situation. From last report, we're hearing sorting, counting, ongoing, but fill us in.
Yes, as you must have heard from various reports today, the election had been conducted and it was generally peaceful in most of the local government areas. There was no any security breaches anywhere. And apart from MOA local government that had a relatively delay of deployment of materials, other local governments started quite early. At MOA, the election started very late at about 12 noon. that also extended the voting process beyond 2 p.m. But presently, results are already arriving from the various local governments to RISEC office in Port Harcourt. Information available to us is that about 5 local governments have arrived, and all the commissioners and officials that are involved in the collation of the results are on ground to receive more of the results from the local government. And it's likely that this night they will collect the result, and if the result is not announced this night, it will be announced tomorrow morning. There was already a directive from RISEC that results should not be announced at any of the local governments, that it has to be announced at RISEC office. And that is exactly what the officials obeyed, and they are bringing the result down to RISEC office right now.
Okay, Robinson, just very briefly before I let you go, because it's already looking like it's going to be a long night for you, and of course all those involved there. But from your interaction with the electorate, what was the cause for the low turnout as speculated in reports we gathered?
Well, there was no much turnout of voters in most of the polling units, and of course that could be as a result of the mixed feelings among the electorates in Rivers State. We are aware that before now there are some mixed feelings and misconceptions about the legality and illegality of the process. However, polling units that have aspirants and maybe some personalities had some level of turnout that we observed. But generally, there was a low turnout of voters in the election.
Thank you for that update. I'm sure we'll be getting more developments from you as they evolve. Thank you, Robinson. All right, we turn to other issues. The Vice President of the Republic of Colombia, Francia Marquez, has arrived in Nigeria on a 3-day official visit. Accompanied by her husband and cabinet ministers, the Colombian Vice President was received at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, by federal government delegation. Key highlight of the visit is the signing of memoranda of understanding in strategic areas of the economy, including women empowerment, trade, aviation, manufacturing, agriculture, among others. The visit will also feature a plenary session on Nigeria-Colombia Business Forum and other side events. The Ministry of Women Affairs has launched an empowerment program, Women Agro Value Expansion Initiative, aimed at expanding the scope of women farmers in the nation's agro value chain. Ngozi Teknikio reports that the First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, represented by the wife of the Vice President, Nana Shatima, emphasized the critical role of women in the federal government food security agenda.
The First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, represented by the wife of the Vice President, Nana Kashim Shettima, acknowledged the enormous potential of women in the agricultural value chain. She noted that equipping women with modern agricultural techniques will translate to abundant food, given that women make up 70% of the workforce in the nation's agricultural sector.
Nigeria is blessed with abundant land and natural resources, and we must utilize these blessings to ensure food security for all our citizens. I applaud the recent ban on the exportation of shea butter nuts by Mr. President, as this directly impacts our women, who make up the 95% of pickers and local processors.
It's designed to address the systematic barriers that women face in the agro space, so that they're not just participating, but they're actually making a lot of money.
It empowers them with access to finance, modern technology, training, markets, and enabling them to move beyond production to processing.
We are going to cascade this training knowledge we have learned here to our community. We came here, we unlearn, we relearn, and learn.
The women were trained on greenhouse farming, preservation, processing, and marketing, and would be closely monitored after empowerment to ensure success. In Abuja, Ngozi Teknikio, NTA News.
Chairman, Progressive Governors Forum and Governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, says the Southeast governors will forge a common ground towards eradicating security challenges facing the commercially viable region. The governor was speaking shortly after attending the Catholic Archdiocese of Abuja General Assembly. Let's hear from Abubakar Akwanga.
The General Assembly brought together bishops and Christian leaders of the Catholic extraction, where peace and stability of the church dominated this session. Hope Uzodinma appreciated the Archdiocese of Abuja and urged Christians to rally around the church for God's grace and forgiveness and pray for leaders at all levels. He later spoke about Southeast security and workers' welfare.
Thanks to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the various reform policies he brought with him since he came to power, which has made it possible for states now to get more money from the federal. So all this put together, we need to recalibrate our financial systems. There are two principal factors driving the insecurity. One is won by those who are genuinely agitating for their Biafran interests. And the other one is criminality and the political sponsorship of those who want to disorganize the government. Our democracy is gradually growing, and we pray that it will touch their hearts one day to see reason why they must be law-abiding.
The governor appealed to Nigerians to be patient and support the present government for more progress and development of the country. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu has advised families to be exemplary in the upbringing of their children. Vice President Kashim Shettima, who represented the president, gave the advice at the wedding fatia of the son of former Vice President Namadi Sambo in Kano. The wedding ceremony between Abdullah Sambo and the daughter of Professor Abdullahi Umar took place at the Al Furqan Mosque, Kano. VP Shettima stood in for the father of the bride, while the Deputy Chief of Staff to the President, Ibrahim Hassan Adeja, stood in for the father of the groom. The Vice President also graced the wedding fatia of Khalifa Ishaq Baffa Jibrin and Maryam Amani Yahya at the National Mosque in Abuja. Imam of the National Mosque, Dr. Muhammad Kabir Adam, and other imams presided over the solemnization after the payment of 500,000 naira as dowry. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll be having a discussion on how states are involving in power generation, transmission, and of course, distribution. Stay tuned.
In the beating heart of Owerri, business never sleeps. From sunrise to sundown, the wheels keep turning. And behind the scenes, vision meets action. Governor Hope Uzodinma's leadership has turned manifestos into reality, transformations that feels like a miracle. But progress needs peace, and in Imo, it's not left to chance. From land to sky to river deep, guardians are watching, protecting dreams and opportunity. At Orashi's quiet shore, hydropower is rising, set to energize a growing economy. The change is visible. New roads emerge, industry hums, communities come alive. At the center, a digital revolution. 500,000.
Now, it's 2 years since President Bola Ahmed Tinubu signed the new Electricity Act 2023, an alteration to the 1999 Constitution. A game changer, that's what the expert is saying, that finally allows subnationals to take charge of their power supply. Now, so far, more than 12 states keyed into the landmark reform and established their electricity markets. Let's hear from Joshua Ojito.
From Lagos to Kaduna, Enugu to Plateau, most states are taking bold steps to build their own electricity markets. What this means is that states are no longer waiting solely on the national grid to power homes, industries and businesses. In Lagos, the state electricity market framework is already attracting private investors to boost embedded power projects, while Ekiti State is working with independent power producers to expand supply to underserved communities.
A lot of investments too are coming from the private sector because of this liberalization. And number two, this is bringing power sector down to the grassroots.
Bayelsa, Nasarawa, Kogi, among other states, have rolled out policies to encourage industrial clusters with dedicated power solutions.
We want to create some kind of healthy competition within the subnational so that everybody moves together
We use criteria of the state level of policy, the state level of data availability, the state number of people without the access, the state funding, what they provide, and the state availability of capacity development, that is talent, within the state in ensuring that they address the electricity access.
With state regulators now empowered to license operators, bottlenecks that once slowed down investment are giving way to faster approvals and targeted projects. There are indications that the state electricity markets could unlock more than 20,000 megawatts of electricity in the nearest future, thereby significantly reducing reliance on the national grid. The Electricity Act of 2023 is not just a law on paper, it is gradually powering a new era of opportunity across Nigeria. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Thank you, Joshua. Also, Nasarawa is among states that have been granted approval to establish its electricity market. And the state government says it is on track in a journey towards achieving adequate electricity supply across the state. Aliyu Tijani reports.
And the power sector was decentralized in 2023 through the signing into law of the Electricity Act. Nasarawa State approached the regulator for approval. This bettered Nasarawa State Electricity Regulatory Commission to oversee the electricity matters. The state is leveraging Farinruwa Hydro Dam, currently under construction, for power generation, in addition to abundant renewables in the state.
Once we do not have our own power, it makes it very difficult for us to compete with so many other organizations. And this is the situation we found. And this is the situation Mr. President is working very hard to ensure that states can generate their own power.
Already, the state signed Memorandum of Understanding for the deployment of solar mini-grids and mobilization of developers into the state.
Among few of its mandates are to maximize power supply through the IPPs for the improvement of electricity supply across the state.
Though the market is yet to fully take off in the state, there are prospects of brighter days as the state government lays foundation for a competitive market to power its economy. In Lafia, Aliyu Tijani, NTA News.
So let's begin the conversation on states' involvement in the power sector. Let's welcome Mr. Bode Fadigbe. He's a power sector expert. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Bode.
Thank you for having me. Good evening, viewers.
Good evening to you. And joining us via Zoom, Mr. Eka Williams is the chairman, Forum of Commissioners of Energy and Commissioner for Energy, Cross River State. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. William.
Thank you for inviting me to the program.
Okay, so let me just start with you, Mr. William. Now, from a centrally structured system we've seen before to a time where states are empowered, to generate, transmit, and distribute power supply. Looking at then and now, what does this portend for the state?
Well, I want to start by thanking Mr. President for signing that bill into law. It is really a game changer. For us as the subnationals, what it has done is that it has allowed the subnationals to make investments in the power sector. Before now, there used to be an exclusive preserve of the federal government. So now it's decentralized. Invest in the power sector. A whole lot of, for instance, in my state, I'm ready to take over Abuja Waterfall, ready to take over the hydro potentials we have, the solar potentials. A whole lot of investors are moving down, to the subnationals across the length and breadth of continents. If you look at how they can make investment in this sector, it's a welcome and a great development for us at the subnational. We're very excited and very happy for this decentralization.
Okay, Mr. Williams, I'll get back to you. But Mr. Fadigbe, following by the reaction you've heard from Mr. Williams, what's your take, especially in the implementation of the Electricity Act of 2023, which empowers state, obviously, going by what it stipulates, part of the provisions, states can also look at aspect of investment, with opportunities that they can leverage on for infrastructure in the power sector.
Well, again, maybe at the risk of re-echoing what Mr. Williams has said, the involvement of the subnationals is a development that must be applauded because we must not lose sight of how we got to that point. We got to that point principally because the investment in the sector was crying seriously for further investment, by which it is meant that generation was not adequate, transmission is having its own problem, distribution is also having its own challenges. And the feeling was that by the time states are allowed to now formally get involved in the investment, by way of a readjustment of the legislation, there will be more, there will be an unlocking of that sector. Let's not forget the fact that states have never really been out of investment in the power sector. Persons who are running for public offices donate transformers. Even state governments themselves, they donate transformers to rural areas, to urban areas, and from one location to the other as a way of augmenting what is on ground. So it's not as if the states have been completely alien, but they have done so majorly at the downstream end, which is the distribution end. They have never been involved in generation. They have never been involved in transmission. But with the coming of the EA 2023, by reason of Section 2 of that Electricity Act, they are now allowed to generate, transmit, and they can now fully distribute the energy that they generate within their own state. That needs to be very, very clear. The power to generate, the power to transmit, the power to distribute is limited to the geography of the state that they cover. Once they begin to do cross-border trading, then there is a different conversation entirely. But right now, we must commend the federal government or the Tinubu administration for putting pen to paper to make sure that we are able to move the power sector to the point that it can galvanize development, it can bring about, it can serve as a catalyst for the economy so that we can open up the space and bring about a power sector that can deliver on its mandates.
Indeed, Mr. Fadigbe. But Mr. Williams, I want to get your take on the challenges, facing states at this time, especially if we want to look at capacity. Some experts have come out to say, do they have, beyond just policy document, the preparedness for this regulatory autonomy handed over to states? So as the chairman of the forum there in Cross River State, what's your take based on your assessment?
Well, for me, it is a very new, it's a teaching problem. We are going through a whole lot at the subnational because you have to first and foremost make sure that your law is passed at the state level. Then the governor will sign it into law, and you need to put up your regulatory framework and other agencies to help you, pull that. So it's not an off-the-shelf thing. So we are doing all of that. And you agree with me that it goes with a whole lot of challenges. You have the challenges of manpower, you have the challenges of funding, you have the challenges of even trying to explain what the act, the decentralization of electricity means to those at this level. For them, they've never been involved fully in the power equation. So we did a whole lot of stakeholders engagement to make, and that is what we are doing, and that's what we are even pleading as for pen, we are saying that, look, it is not a fight between the Gencos or the distributor, the Gencos and the other sectors. That look, we have come to harmonize, we have come to add to what the federal government has already been doing. It's complementary. We like what NEC is doing. It's regulating at that level, like especially what my colleague said here. Our boundaries are clearly spelled out. If you want to do interstate, transactions, you need to get back to NEC to pretend over that. But for now, our powers reside just within our state. We can do end-to-end, provided you're still within your state. You can generate, transmit, and distribute within the state. And for me, I think it's a welcome development. We are doing. We are comparing notes with other states that have gone far. Lagos State is a good example. Like it is a wonderful example. For instance, I just passed. My governor just signed into law about 2 weeks ago my law. So I am already, close to where Lagos and Ekiti is. But for me, I believe that we should hold slowly. A whole lot of things that we need to do. A whole lot of hand-holding that we need to do. The vertical and horizontal relationship, the one with NEC, the one across the states. We must make sure that we do all of this in the interest of Nigerians, because we have been in darkness for too long. Since independence, we are still hovering around 5,000 megawatt, and all of that is just too poor. But I believe that with this new development, distant time, I'm sure that what the state will bring to the table will be really, really great.
Okay, Mr. Williams, but Mr. Fadigbe, Mr. Williams mentioned something important aside in the aspect of regulation from NEC. And NEC is obviously doing its own role, but how can they help states, in terms of enhancing this institutional framework given to them to help build capacity?
I think we must commend NEC. They have had at least 10 years of qualitative experience since 2013, when 60% of the equity in the power sector was given to private investors. NEC has been there from that time, and the states are just coming in now. And so when you have a junior brother who is 1 year old or 2 years old, and you are 10 years older than that your junior brother, you are expected to be able to take him along when you are going to school, or at least take care of him when you are at home. So I think the first thing that we need to look at from the perspective of NEC in terms of what they can do to assist the subnationals is in the area of providing capacity in terms of training their manpower. Mr. Williams just acknowledged the fact that amongst the challenges that the states are contending with, or the subnationals are contending with, is the issue of the capacity. Yeah. And I tell you quite frankly, given the fact that one has had the benefit of giving service to this nation in that part of the economy, the capacity in the power sector is unique to the power sector. The power sector is very jealous of those who work there. It is so sensitive to it that even an HR person taking a wrong decision about the staff can affect the entire work for that day. If an HR person, for instance, who is supposed to sign a hospital paper for a staff who had maybe fallen victim of an accident and is looking for rules and regulations to follow before he responds to that situation, it can disrupt, because the in-house labor unions or any of the labor unions can begin to foment trouble. So this power sector is sensitive to the capacity of the staff, and this is one area where NEC will provide a lot of support for them, because NEC has had 10 years of qualitative experience. They have seen the market. They can even predict almost clinically some of the things that the states will see as they go along. So That's one area where NEC can really, really help them. Another area where NEC can help them is also in the formulation of their legislative instrument that will regulate the market. One thing that we have seen consistently in the last 10 years is a lot of regulations coming in from NEC, directing on metering, directing on tariff, directing on customer, management of customer, problems and things like that. We've seen NEC providing a lot of regulation in terms of what megawatt an investor can take up, maybe up to 1 megawatt. If you are at that level, these are the things you have to follow. So NEC is coming in at the level of building capacity. NEC is coming in at the level of providing guidance in terms of the legislative instrument and so many other areas. So these are areas that are very, very critical in terms of supporting the states so that they can have almost a seamless and a less problematic takeoff.
Okay, Mr. Fadigbe, you mentioned something I would like to take you on when we come back from the break, talking about tariff. So let's take a break. We'll be back to pick up with the conversation. Thank you for staying tuned. We have a report with the Electricity Act 2023 opening doors for state participation in power supply. Hope now shines for 113 vulnerable communities in Enugu State to finally enjoy reliable power supply. Let's hear from Chika Okorie.
Electricity Act 2023 is bringing a new era of transformation in over 2 decades. Chairman of the Enugu Electricity Regulatory Commission, Mr. Chijoke Okonkwo, said the new law is opening fresh opportunities such as building capacities for artisans, stimulating healthy competition, and giving citizens a stronger sense of ownership in the power sector. The involvement of citizens in the power supply decentralization helps to safeguard installations and curb vandalism.
First policy, I must say, that he also put in place was the Enugu State electricity policy that sets out the roadmap for us to transform Enugu State's electricity industry from one where we are only receiving patterns of electricity from the grid to one that provides the necessary energy for industrialization.
However, despite noticeable improvements in the electricity supply across Enugu State, bill payments appears to be difficult due to financial constraints.
In my area, I've had light for 24 hours. So by the time my prepaid meter goes off, I know the source. I can easily say it is because of the length of electricity. That is why my bill went down.
Indeed, opinions here suggest that with the right policies and collaborations, the gains of state involvement in power supply could help transform the nation by driving industrial growth and improving the lives of the citizens. In Enugu, Chika Okore, NTA News.
All right, let's pick up the conversation. Mr. Williams, Mr. Fadigbe, I'd like to get Mr. Fadigbe's response to this before I get to you, Mr. Williams. It's, of course, we just saw the report from Enugu, and I want to look at the aspect of tariff. What does the law say, Mr. Fadigbe, about tariff? Because we saw the situation of the Enugu regulatory aspect where NEC came out to say that this, no state can, give a stipulated tariff where they are generating, electricity supply from the national grid, except it is from theirs. So what does the law actually say, Mr. Fadigbe, before we get to Mr. Williams?
It's a very, very exciting issue. Exciting because the power sector has shown itself to be very dynamic and is so much, is alive. So what am I trying to say here? Answering your question straightforwardly, the position of the law is that NEC has the responsibility to fix tariff as much as the states have the responsibility to fix tariff. If you read Section 2 of the Electricity Act, it says that states can generate, transmit, and distribute. But take note of this word, within their geography.
Yeah.
Now, if you can generate, transmit, and distribute within your geography, it presupposes that you should also be able to fix the price. Or you can afford to give it out as palliative and not collect money for it. But we know that that is a bit of sarcasm. So states wants to sell and they want to collect money for it. But it must be the product that they have generated. For the one that NEC is generating, NEC reserves the right. And that comes under Section 63, subsection 7 of the Electricity Act. NEC reserves the right for energy that goes into the grid. And it's a cross-border product. NEC reserved that right. The issue that came up in terms of Enugu Electricity Regulatory Commission is this. And this is the question. Who owns that product that Enugu Electricity Regulatory Commission adjusted the price? Who is the owner of the product? NEC came out immediately when that issue came up to say that, look, while you have right over the retail aspect of this business, because there are two aspects of the business. Yeah. There is the wholesale and there is the retail. While you have right over the retail aspect of the business, your right does not cover the wholesale. If you choose to sell lower than the price that we have given to you, then give us the balance. NEC is not saying that Enugu Electricity Regulatory Commission cannot sell at any price they want. They can sell at whatever price they want. However, give us the differential between what you sold and what we ask you to sell. So NEC is at the wholesale point. Enugu Electricity Regulatory Commission is at the retail point for now. When Enugu State begins to generate their own electricity, like I said, they can fix any price for it, or they can use it as palliatives.
Oh, okay. All right, let's get to Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams, I'd like to get your take on this issue, especially putting consumers into consideration. Because if states, have this autonomy, consumers also have a right to what they're paying and what they're receiving. Let me hear your take, Mr. Williams.
Well, for me, I agree with what Fadipet said. And what I want to say is that let me be general here. That very soon electricity will be like the way the communication companies came, and MTN and Co. So when competition starts, when so many investors start coming in, the price of the product actually go down. But to go back to the tariff, Enugu tariff, a problem. It is a teething problem. I don't believe that disclosure was a real issue with that Enugu issue. If they all sat on the table, if NEC had called both the GENCOs and the DISCOs and the Enugu State Revenue Commission on the table, this matter will have gotten to where it is. But be there as it may. The last meeting we held in Abuja, in the minister's office, it was very clear that everybody should share with solve. And I'm sure that they are talking. They are talking because at the end of it, we want to see power distributed to Enugu people, to Perseverance, to people in Eboyi, to Zamfara, every part of the state. Those bickering and fighting, for me, necessary and called for. I think that Enugu State deserves the right to go, and NEC equally deserves the right to intervene. It is not as difficult as we're trying to make it look. I'm sure that matter is to be resolved. But on a larger scale, I think that we should spend more energy in trying, to put more effort in generation and distribution. You agree with me that our infrastructure are so old. Even when we generate electricity, where to transmit, it's a problem. Investment should be made. The states, now that we have this power decentralized, the states should invest more in distribution companies, and the state should invest more in making sure that we reach the underserved and the unserved. My problem with generation companies is that they are too profits, driven. Okay, you notice that, like Fadipe said earlier, state governments have been involved in trying to make power get to the underserved and the unserved. But when you do all of that infrastructure, they take it over, they charge you, and when transformers go down, so many GEMCOs refuse to even get involved in bringing transformers. The state government have to, like about the last count, we rolled out about 50-something transformers, through the state affairs agency and my ministry. But you donate these transformers to them, they put them in their network, and instead of saying, okay, look, this is the quantity of electricity I can give you for this transformer before we start, they will say no. They will just take them in, and they just, it is a good thing that we are beginning to sit on the table to discuss all of this. I do not believe that it's supposed to be we're supposed to be on a war path with them. We will get a way around it. It's a teaching
Indeed.
problem. I think we are doing well. Involvements the states are really, really open to discuss.
All right. All right, Mr. Williams. I'm sure as the chairman forum of commissioners, you also put consumers into consideration when plans are on the way in every aspect. Thank you very much. We want to appreciate you for joining us on Weekend File. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Fadikbe, let's get your final thoughts as we wrap up this conversation. A lot has been said, but sustainability remains key if this sector must thrive across the subnationals. What's your take?
I think it's very important for us to begin to look at the fact that those who have brought their money into this sector also need to be compensated in terms of sustainability, because that is where they are going to get money to bring back into the sector. But it's also very important to remember the fact that all fingers are not equal. And so there are some people who cannot pay as much as the market will require them to pay right now. And that is why we need to look very quickly and very closely at Section 117 and Section 122 of the Electricity Act, which talks about subsidy, which is a major elephant in the house now. That's a big problem right now. And then the issue of the Power Consumers Assistance Fund. That fund provides for the receiving of money that can be used to support those who cannot pay the current price that at which electricity is sold. Because this economy cannot become what it ought to be if the power sector is not doing well. There is no doubt about that. So we must sit down, we must come back and sit down and look at the policies more closely, look at the implementation, remove the politics, and let the policies work, improve on the capacity, let there be liquidity in the sector so that at the end of the day, this sector can be what it ought to be. It has dragged on, it has been in the mud for too long. 10 years after privatization, we are still dealing with nascent issues that are supposed to have been resolved by now. I feel quite pained by the state of our power sector in this country today.
And I share your passion. I see your passion. Thank you very much for your time on Weekend File. It's a value chain, and I believe everyone has a stake. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So let's ponder on some thoughts as we take a break. We'll be back.
Nigerian artisan, tired of all the customer complaints and looking to take your craft to the next level? Then join Skill Up Artisans program Super, the game-changing initiative designed to transform Nigerian artisans into world-class professionals. Super is an initiative of President Tinubu to equip artisans with modern skills, cutting-edge technology, and global best practices. Super offers world-class training courses, retraining experienced artisans to sharpen their skills while providing multi entry-level training to aspiring artisans in various trades like construction, manufacturing, transportation, services, automation, and agriculture. Beyond industrial training funds, certified training centers, SUPA provides web and mobile training programs for flexibility and convenience. Upon completion, artisans receive globally recognized certification and licensing for credibility, opening doors to international employment opportunities. SUPA has 3 career-boosting exit paths. The first exit is international job placement through global partnerships. The second is local industry jobs that drive economic growth. And the third is business incubation, providing self-employed artisans with tools and resources to build successful businesses. SUPA has created a central database that categorizes Nigeria artisans for easy access and management. This also serves as a global marketplace for clients seeking skilled artisans who are rated based on expertise and service quality. Customers can expect top quality service as SUPA artisans are trained to meet global standards. SUPA guarantees financial security with escrow payment protection, ensuring customers pay only for satisfactory work. With SUPA, artisans thrive, customers receive top quality service, and Nigeria's economy grows. Visit www.super.itf.gov.ng today and take your craft to the next level.
The Financial Services Regulation Coordinating Committee, FSRCC, in collaboration with the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, wishes to draw the attention of the public to the worrisome increase in the activities of illegal financial operators, IFOs, which threaten public trust and the stability of the Nigerian financial system. The FSRCC and NBC hereby advises the general public to refrain from dealing with unlicensed financial operators who deceive individuals with unrealistically high investment returns. Make sure to verify the licensing status of such companies and schemes on this website. To report any suspicions of illicit financial activities, call Let's work together to uphold the integrity of Nigeria's financial system. Announcer, FSRCC.
From the Atlantic across the savannah to the Sahara, we rise.
Thank you for staying tuned. And next will be Sports Update. Ayo, I'm excited much, mind you.
Yeah, but let's start from the home front here in Abuja, where debutants New Karu All-Stars Football Club are relishing their victory after being crowned champions of the All-Stars Veterans International Invitational Tournament at the main bowl of the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja. New Karu upsets the apple cart to lift the trophy for the very first time at the expense of bookmakers' favourites, Karu All-Stars, 3-2 on penalties in the three-lane contests. Chairman of the National Sports Commission, Shehu Diko, and Controller General of Customs, Bashir Adewale Adeniyi, who both featured in a novelty encounter between Team Diko and Team LOC, commended the tournament for meeting its goals of fostering friendship, unity, and stronger bonds among players.
Part of what we discussed at that time was how could you make VAR go down to grassroots, because the professional VAR is very expensive. But now, from what we have demonstrated here, even at the grassroots, you can be able to be creative.
It's always fun to play in the midst of legends. These are people who applied their trade 30, 40 years ago, and they still show that they can, offer some tricks on the future play.
I want to thank God for how far He has brought us in the final, and today the rest is history. We are champions of this year's tournament.
Let's move on from there and tell you also that five-time Nigeria Premier League champions, Shooting Stars Sports Club of Ibadan, were forced to a 1-1 draw by Bendel Insurance at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in Benin. Alex Owelayefa leveled scores for Insurance at the 12th minute after Ismaila Yodele's 6th-minute opener. On Sunday, Kano State-based Barrow FC are in Enugu to play Bayelsa United. At the Center of Excellence, Ikorodu City welcome El Kanemi Warriors of Maiduguri to Lagos in a match that will be beamed live on the NTA. The match, billed for the Mobolaji Johnson Arena, is the first of many matches for football lovers after a renewed partnership between the Nigeria Premier Football League Board and the NTA. Afonja Warriors Kwara United are away at Rivers, while defending champions Remo Stars at the Dan Anyam Stadium in Owerri play Kun Khalifat. Away from Nigeria, Manchester United finally secured the first win of the season after a dramatic 97th-minute penalty from captain Bruno Fernandes, sealing a 3-2 victory over Burnley. The result also marked just their fourth Premier League win in 14 home matches at Old Trafford. Tottenham Hotspur, meanwhile, saw their perfect start come to an end after a 1-0 defeat at Bournemouth, missing out on the chance to open a top-flight campaign with 3 consecutive wins for the first time since 2021-2022. Later on Sunday, Brighton take on Manchester City in the afternoon before defending champions Liverpool welcome Arsenal to Anfield in the evening. And that's your sports. It's back to Ruth.
Many thanks, Ayo. All right, let's inform you that President Bola Tinubu sends warm felicitations to the Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Sokoto, Reverend Matthew Hassan Kuka, on his 73rd birthday. In a statement via the Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, the President joins the Catholic family and body of Christ to celebrate the highly revered priest whose compassion for the poor and underprivileged continues to influence people-centered development policies. The President prays for a longer life, good health, and wisdom for Bishop Kuka. All right, let's find out how Sunday's weather will be looking like.
Looking ahead to Sunday, the bulk of rainfall activity is expected to be concentrated over the north and the central parts of the country. Thunderstorms accompanied by moderate rain will dominate the northern regions, with the northwestern region experiencing the more intense activity. The north-central cities can also expect moderate rainfall. Meanwhile, the southern region is expected to be generally cloudy, particularly across the inland areas, with a chance of light rain along the coastal areas, including parts of Edo, Imo, Abia, Ogun, and Ebonyi State. And that's the weather outlook for Sunday. Stay informed and stay safe. Thank you for watching.
All right, now before we go, August 31st, that is Sunday, is International Day for People of African Descent. A day set aside to honor the rich contributions of people of African descent to human progress and works to eliminate discrimination and to celebrate the vibrant culture of Africa. Of course, it is a day designated by the United Nations General Assembly to recognize the significance of cultural heritage and achievements of people of African descent worldwide. So, to celebrate the day, you can engage in cultural activities such as art exhibitions or dance performances showcasing African heritage. Additionally, supporters can, combat racism and educate people on the heritage of Africa. And that's Weekend File for today. Thank you for being part of it. Do have a good night rest. I'm Ruth Aguele.
Dear esteemed viewer, NTA International will be carrying out a scheduled maintenance from 11 p.m. Consequently, our services on DSTV and StarSat will be affected. However, this will not affect our services to USA, Canada, and Mexico. Also, all our streaming social media handles will be up and running. Thank you. Announcer, Management, NTA International.
Where eligible candidates with a JAMB admissible scores of not less than 180 and 100 scores, and with 5 credits O-level in social sciences, including English and mathematics, can turn their passion in broadcasting to profession by applying for a BSc in mass communication and MBTE-approved innovation diploma courses in film and television production, broadcast journalism, and television engineering, respectively. The college, as a training herb with a pedigree of professionalism in the media space, also offers specialized courses in other related fields. For more information, visit our website at www.ntatvc.edu.ng or contact 080-33-834-343 and 080-69-809-897. Announcer Management.
We're not in a romantic relationship, we're in a brotherly relationship.
Friends with benefits.
Yeah, very bad boy.
No. Family relationship.
Who be your family?
Situationship.
Are you in a situationship?
It is well.
Survey says... Hey!
Onenge is my girlfriend.
You want George? Thank God. Say I hacked. An oversized shirt is okay to wear, but an oversized dash isn't.
Skirts.
Bro.
Shop.
Pants. Name something you add to your text to make them more interesting.
Emojis.
Stickers. Pictures. The way we back at the breathe, at the yellow.
Gifts.
Survey says.
My birthday.
Are you ready? Join us on Reshaping Democracy, a groundbreaking program on the network service of the NTA, where citizens get the chance to ask ministers, heads of ministerial departments, agencies, and other top government officials questions on their performance and delivery of mandates. With no sector of limits, conversations build around bridging communication gaps for feedback and effect as our guests engage with the people they serve.
How does ND foster partnerships with organizations, government agencies, NGOs, among others?
As our leaders give account to citizens' inquiries on good governance, tune in to Reshaping Democracy, a creative concept coming up every Tuesday evening at 10:05 p.m.
This is Reshaping Democracy.
The counsel of our fathers.
My advice to these young people is please do